Alright, welcome to part 2 on the Euroline Cyclone Sport 120 horsepower jet boat. We picked this thing up last video for $300. It was up on Marketplace for $500. We got the guy down to $300. Brought it back home, and it hadn't ran in, let's see, what was it, since 2007, so 16 years. And we actually got it running last video. If you guys missed that video, go check it out. This video will make a lot more sense if you watch that one first. But today's plan is going to be to take it for the first test drive, but we need to fix a couple things before we do that. So down here on the boat, you can see there's a big crack in it right there. We're going to use some epoxy to fill that in. You can actually see water dripping from it right here, so that's not good. So that's a crack all the way through. Let's see if we can get a good look at it. So you can see it. You can see that goes all the way through the boat. So we bought some epoxy. It should be pretty good stuff. We're gonna try to repair that. And then in the back here, we have a blower we have to fix. We have to come up with a seat for this thing because it's missing the seats. And the drain plugs back here need to be changed out. So a couple different things we have to do before we can test this thing out. Plus we got some new spark plugs for the engine as well. So let's get to work on fixing this thing before we take it for the first ride. Should be interesting. Who thinks it's gonna move in the water? I have my doubts. So this is the stuff I ended up going with. A subscriber commented and said use this stuff. He said his friend used it and it worked out pretty good. So it says handles like putty, hardens like steel, sands like wood. So this is just like a two-part epoxy for marine use. So what you do is you mix these two containers together. Comes in a package like this. I don't know if that's gonna be enough, so we got two packages. They're not super cheap. They're like $25.99, I think I paid for these for one. So 50 bucks between the pair. Here's the catalyst. You mix this with this on some cardboard, and it turns into like a putty. And you're supposed to clean off the surface really well before you use it. So let's go prep the area that we're going to apply this. And it looks like it's going to take, let's see how many hours it takes to dry. I think it said 18 hours. So we might have to wait 18 hours before we take it on the water here. Thoroughly mix for 2 to 3 minutes using a putty knife or paint stick until a uniform consistency is achieved. Apply. You can apply it to 1 inch or 1.5 thick on vertical or overhead surfaces without sagging. That's pretty good. Marine Tex putty will begin to cure and harden in 2 to 3 hours at 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Will cure fully for application use in 18 to 24 hours. So here's the crack right here. They recommend using some sandpaper to sand the bottom of it. And then using some brake cleaner, we're going to clean off the surface. Pretty good sized crack we got going. Unfortunately, this is the part of the boat that gets used the most. So you can see the crack actually goes from here all the way down to here. So we're gonna put putty all the way along that crack. And there's actually a second location down here that the fiberglass is just scratched off of. So not a huge leak right there, but this one is leaking pretty good, and it's pretty soft right there. Looks like it got punched in pretty good. So let's get some brake cleaner. We're gonna clean this up, and then we'll mix up that putty and apply it. I think somebody put some fiberglass patch on it that didn't hold up. That stuff's pretty thick. Alright, that's pretty much everything out of there. Now it says apply the catalyst, which is going to make it harden up to the whole thing. Just kind of stir that in a little bit. I want it to run off. Pour a little bit more. You apply the whole thing. Now you really want that mixed well, otherwise it won't harden up. Just really take your time mixing it. You have plenty of time to work with it. I think. This is my first time using it. Actually, I'd prefer it to be a little stiffer than that. Alright, we're just going to try applying a little bit. It's still pretty wet, but we're just going to do that little spot up there. See if we can get that to stick here. Alright. It's gonna... just a little bit more. That looks like that's holding on pretty good. Just kind of want to pack it into that hole there. That looks pretty good. Gotta fan that out a little bit more. Looks pretty good. Alright, now time for the main area. Hopefully this will work. Alright, here we go. My back is on the rocks, so that's fun. Kind of pack that in there first. See if that'll stay. Looks like it's not dripping too much. Kind of pack that in there. Oh yeah. Preferably use a smooth mallet here. But we can always sand it down and smooth it out later. Let's see what we got. Looks like it's packing in there pretty good. Get way back there. Alright, just a little bit more right there. We'll smooth that out a little bit. We should be good. And I'll come back and check on it, make sure it's not drooping. Make sure all the cracks are filled. Alright, she's covered. It's not the prettiest in the world, but once we get it sanded down, you won't even be able to tell that there's a hole there. We might double layer that. Once that dries, we might put on another layer. But that looks pretty good. Not too bad. Alright, so our drain plugs were missing from the boat when we bought it. Oop, all the screws are falling out. So we ended up buying some new ones. These are not just plugs, but they're the whole thing. And I measured and they should work. So these are the nicer ones for marine use. So they twist in, and this is the part we were missing, but I couldn't find one that matched the threads and the size of the hole that was on there. So we ended up getting two new ones. So we'll see if those work. Hopefully they match up with the holes. Otherwise we're gonna have to come up with another way to plug those. Well, let's see if we measured correctly here. As they're coming out, we are going to apply marine sealant on it too, because we don't want it leaking around here. I think that's glued in pretty good. There we go. Oh, that came out pretty easily. There really wasn't much glue. Let's do a quick check with it. See if these are gonna fit. They're pretty close. Not quite. I think we can make it work though. That is very close. Sealant off. It's old glue. Again, just using some brake cleaner. Clean this. Get the old glue off of there. There's still a little bit on there. I don't want any leaks on this thing. So we're using 3M marine grade silicone sealant. We're going to apply to the bolt holes and then all the way around here so we don't get a leak. Be pretty generous with it, because the last thing you want is a leak when you're out in the water. Kind of wrecks your whole day then. Alright, let's see if we can make it work. The screw holes line up. I'm hoping we can punch that one through. We'll put some around the screw too, just to make sure that's fully sealed. I don't really care how it looks at this point. Let me go all the way around here. Make sure that's nice and tight. just a little bit around that screw. You don't have to do that, but just want to make sure we don't have any leaks at all. So now I can screw in. And we have a tight seal. Get off all the old sealant. Brake cleaner. Bolt holes and all the way around. It's not pretty, but we won't have a leak at least. Alright, so based on the comments, this blower down here is very important for getting out fumes out of here. So that hose right there you can see is broken up at the top here. So we got a new hose for that blower, which blows it out of the vent right there. So we have to make sure that's not clogged and that the blower is working properly. Otherwise people say it can blow up in here. So we obviously don't want that. So we got some hose. I bought this off of Amazon. It's 9 feet in length. So we'll just hook that up, take that old one off, and see if that works. Alright, let's see if I can get back there. I don't know how that hose broke. The clamps still look fine. It's hard to get back here though. There's one more right here. We have to get up. So this is 3-inch piping. Okay, got the whole thing off. Here's the new tubing. I think it's the same stuff. Looks to be the same, so we're just gonna cut that. Let's go see if we can fit this up. It's a little hard to see in there. We'll try our best to get this on. Alright. And then goes down to here. Alright, if you guys can see that down there, we got her all put together, clamped down. So, let's see if she works. Flip on the switch here. Oh yeah, it's blowing. I can feel the air coming out, so it's blowing all that bad air, or all the fumes, right onto my hand here, so that is working good. Awesome. Since we're in the engine bay, let's get all these spark plugs out and get some brand new plugs in here. These have been in here, I'm guessing, for the last 16 years, so it's probably good to change them. There's one. Sorry for the bad angle, it's tough to get anything in this back area over here. There's two. We already got one out, so we got one more left. Alright, there's three. Here are the new plugs we got. One in. Alright. Alright, plug number 2. Alright, plug number 3 going in. Way down here. Right down there. There we go. Alright, we'll crank those down. Alright, plugs are all changed out in there. Everything's back together. Looking good. Alright, let's check in our epoxy here. Let's see what this is looking like. Alright. Let's see if it's getting hard here. Oh yeah. It's hardening up. That's good. It's still a little sticky. Alright, so we ended up buying a new battery box for this thing. The one in there right now. It's a little too small for the battery we had, so we ended up buying a new one. It was $26. So here it is. Let's get that installed. Alright, new battery box is installed. Old one's out. Right there, you can see it was a little bit smaller. It's all locked down, ready to go. So that won't be moving anywhere. Alright, time to come up with a temporary seat. See if we can make something work here. Alright, we'll be using some of this carpet adhesive and then stainless steel staples. Alright, there we go. Carpeted piece of wood. We'll try to come up with a hinge so we can at least flip this up to store stuff in there. But yeah, looking pretty good. Not too bad. Alright, it's been about 24 hours. 23 and a half hours to be exact. Let's check our epoxy. Alright, let's see if that hardened up. Oh yeah, that is nice and hard now. So let's just see if it sands down here. Oh yeah, it's gonna take some sanding, but she's rock solid now. Yeah, I'm gonna need to get my sanding gun out, but we'll probably leave it like that for now. I just don't want to thin it out too much before the first ride, because I like to build up this area right here. So if I get too thin, it's not gonna hold very well. Just kind of smooth out the surface just so it doesn't get caught on anything. So that's all sealed, super rock solid. So we'll see if that holds up. Alright, I think we've got everything fixed on this boat. It's ready for the first ride. Will the $300 boat float and run in the water? That's what we're going to find out today. It runs outside perfectly, but sometimes once it gets in the water, it might not move, might not run. So it should be interesting to find out why the guy had this thing auctioned off and just kind of left it for dead. So, alright, let's go drop it in the lake, see what happens. Alright, at this point in the video, you can see the two boats pulling out in front of me. This was my only chance to go, otherwise you could see the tubers coming around. So this was pretty much do or die here. I went for it, and the boat moved forward with the throttle, so we were off. Alright, so starting out, we're about to gun this boat full throttle, and the bow raises straight up. I can't even see over the boat, and then all of a sudden it just planes out. Alright, this thing is running perfectly, really fast. Let's check out in here. Do we have any leaking? I think that's just residual water from before, hopefully. The blower's working good. Thing flies. Feels just like riding a jet ski. Thing's crazy. It's really busy out here right now too. So I was kind of risking it going out, but I think it was worth it. It's paying off. Get that lock back down. We're anchored in right now, but yeah, everything's working great. So let's go and see what she can do. Alright, this boat was making these big waves. I was tempted to just gun it right over the waves, but I eased off the throttle and kind of hopped the waves here. But probably could have gotten some big air on this wave. You can see the jet skiers on the right side of me coming in hot. We end up doing a little race here, and I beat them out pretty good. They were flying, but I was going faster. Alright, let's see if anything drains out. Nothing. Watertight. Oh yeah. A couple drips, but nothing serious. So that's awesome. That's fixed. And she was running great. The speedo doesn't work though, I noticed. So we'll have to work on that, but everything else was working. Alright, first ride on the Cyclone Sport. This thing was awesome. Zero complaints. Ran perfectly. I just can't believe it. For 300 bucks, I really didn't have to do anything to it except the carb clean and fix that hull there. So, I mean, I don't know why the guy let it go. I don't know if it just was boggy because of the carbs not being cleaned or what. But man, it's great. All registered, ready to go. I don't know why it was sold for $300. Let's see if our repair held up. That is the main question. Let's see. Oh, it cracked right there again. Look at that. I think that was loading it onto the trailer. It cracked. So we'll have to putty that again. Maybe wrap it with some fiberglass. But yeah, as soon as it loads onto the trailer, I think the weight of it just cracks it. You can see some scratch marks right here on it. So either when I beached it, it did that, which I don't think it would because I just pulled it up to the sand, or loading it off the trailer, it must have hit something and cracked it again. But everything else held up. It's just that one spot that was really, really weak that broke again. So that did not work, but I think if you build that up enough and put some fiberglass cloth in there, I think that would take care of it. But yeah, that one held up pretty good over there. It's not too bad. And then our speedometer doesn't work because that broke off. I don't know if that was broken off or if I did that. But that's why the speedo doesn't work. We'll have to get a new one. They're like $10, so not a big deal. But yeah, everything else was great. The seat was actually pretty comfortable. Wasn't too bad. So yeah, that's the first ride on the Cyclone Sport. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. More to come on this thing. And until next time, we are out.